Welcome back to the MUSB Dugout, everyone. I'm Scott Hall, and today I'm joined by another one of the greatest to ever suit up from Marshall University, a Hall of Fame player, and then a coach who helped lead the Herd to a title and the NCAA Regionals. You might be able to see from that hat up there, Amanda Williams. Will played from 2003 to 06, and then coached from 2007 through 2013, being around the program for a grand total of 617 games.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing good. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Oh, definitely. These have been an absolute blast for me to go through, whether it's been talking to, Coach Burnt, coach that I never got to experience, players that I was not around for, and then obviously some of the more recent ones where a lot of the memories that they're sharing are also things that I do remember as well. But
yeah.
Good to, again, be able to hear the stories from your all's memories and your all's eyes. So, but let everyone know what you've been up to recently.
So after I moved back to Georgia, I was coaching at Kennesaw State. I was there for 2 seasons, and then I had Caleb in the midst of season. So he was due on February 11th, which is obviously right when season is starting. And he came February 16th, which is also mine and Jessica's birthday. So another blessing there. So I did it, I did the whole infant child on the bus and, having to go feed in between games and all that stuff. So I did that. And then I decided not to go back just because it was a lot and I wanted to make sure my family was my priority. So during that time, Jessica was actually coaching at Mount Perrin Christian, a single-A private Christian school in Kennesaw, Georgia. So right as I left Kennesaw, she had signed on there and she's like, well, why don't you just come here? Obviously it's not going to be as intense and we'll have a little bit more time. And I was like, okay, and so that's what we did the last 4 years. So this year we decided not to go back to Mount Perrin because our boys are now 4-year preschool and they go to school 4 days a week. And so it's like they would be getting home from school and we would have to jet to go to the field. And now they're also doing soccer and baseball. So we decided to not go back so we could be there and not miss any of their things. And then also, guys, back there in the backyard, during all the quarantine, I was giving lessons at a facility. Once that got shut down, we decided to build a cage in the back. So we have like a retaining wall and a cage. So it's super convenient now. I can just go out the back, do my lessons. The kids will be running around in the backyard too. So I'm a mom and still doing softball, but on my own time. So I schedule lessons when Caleb doesn't have a game or we don't have something going on. So super convenient. So softball and mom in it. And one in it.
There you go. All right. Well, let's go back a little bit. Just obviously I just talked to your sister as well, Jessica.
Yeah.
And she talked about how you guys had started playing softball at such a young age. You also played basketball as well, but it really was kind of, as far as trying to go to college, that softball was going to be your route.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of had to come to a crossroads where it was like, okay, we can't continue to play AAU basketball and travel softball. We realized that softball was in more of our future as far as scholarship. And so we decided, hey, let's, put all of our energy into softball. And then at that point in time, we were kind of like a package deal. We knew we wanted to go to college together. And, so we got some separate offers separately. But we knew that we were just only interested in the schools that wanted both of us.
And now Jessica also said, too, that, Coach Stanton was the first one to reach out to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, she definitely put her work in. And it was hard to say no to her. But I'm super glad that we ended up going on our visit. And, obviously we bleed green now.
Now, what do you remember from your visit? Because Jessica told me a story that I had definitely never heard of, where she had the problem, the eye.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
She said that she's sitting in Coach's office meeting with her, basically just kind of like this, and talking to a future head coach with the lights off. So,
yeah.
What was your?
I mean, I just remember being there and walking around campus and just like having that feel of what you look for. We knew we wanted to go to a university that was a college town and supported the athletics. And that right away. As soon as you go step on campus at Marshall, you feel that. And that's exactly what we were looking for. So just having that feeling, I remember like the girls on our visit, we were already planning like stuff we wanted to do, how we were going to win championships. So immediately we had that camaraderie with the recruits, the players that were already on the team, and then obviously Coach Stanton, and then just the town in general and everything that Marshall had to offer.
Now, you all get to Marshall, big freshman class. There's 8 of you. And so many of you are starting. You know, there's freshmen starting everywhere other than pitcher, catcher, left and right field. So the entire field and then you in center. I mean, what was that like being able to bring all of you in, you know, big personalities, competitive, and making that impact right from the start?
I mean, I think that was just Coach Stanton's goal. She knew that she wanted to come in and she wanted to get impact players. And with such a large class graduating the year before us, we kind of had the opportunity to go ahead and do that. So kind of had that vision that I talked about. We just wanted to go in and we had the goal of winning a championship and just putting our best effort out there. And so having 5 freshmen starting on the field was a big deal. But, you know, we loved every minute of it.
What was that first fall like for you?
Oh my gosh. So, you know, I was more of a slapper coming in, and I remember like even in our fall games that year, I think I slapped. So I really wasn't the player that I ended up being because I was still like that small ball player. And then that fall, you know, it's all new as a freshman. You don't really know what to expect. But I think just we never really got homesick. You know, we just immediately felt that like home away from home type feeling. And then like my sister there, and then having Lee, obviously, who we played softball with too, and then having immediate just bond with the girls. I mean, that's just kind of remember what from that freshman year is us immediately coming in, establishing ourselves as softball players, but then also as a family, you know, inside and outside of the locker room, and just ready to get after it.
So when did you turn into a hitter then? Because you were a hitter through your 4 years.
Yeah. So I think after that fall season, I still kind of messed around with it in the spring, but I was mainly hitting. And then Coach Stan before our first preseason tournament, she was like, okay, I need you to be prepared to be hitting in the 3 or 4 hole. And I was like, Like I had never been a 3 or 4 hole hitter. I'd always been like a 1 or a 2. So I think she kind of just put that in my head, like, okay, you're here to be one of our power hitters. And, you know, I kind of just took that in stride, and I guess I let the small ball people get on base and then gave me opportunity to drive them in.
Well, you definitely did that your freshman year. I mean, you and Deshaun, Allison Webb, you know, I mean, that year, you know, just talk about your freshman year, though, because, I mean, the team's breaking records all over the place. You get off to a hot start where you reach base at least once in your first 36 games.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, all these stats that you come up with, I'm like, I didn't even know that. So we appreciate everything that you're doing on your side, just going in and digging deep and trying to find all that stuff. That's really cool. So we appreciate that. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like we didn't really have to have like one person get it done. We had some great senior leadership, and those girls came back hungry from like wanting to, you know, put Marshall back on the map. And then obviously with us coming in and having that goal too, we all kind of relied on each other. It wasn't like we had one person that you had to rely on. We had, you know, the big freshman class, but then we had everyone throughout, you know, obviously Sierra doing her thing, another Hall of Famer, and then Randy on the mound, and then the upperclassmen too. So it was fun for us as freshmen because obviously we're looking up to the seniors and the upperclassmen, but at the same time they're kind of, you know, pushing us and we're pushing them. It's kind of a give and go kind of thing to get the team rolling.
Now, how did that feel then? You're coming to the close of the regular season and you clinch the regular season title and on a walk-off home run.
I did that?
No, well, no, Allison Webb did that. But
I'm like, wait, I don't remember that. I do remember Allie doing that.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying, how did that feel, though? You're coming towards the end of your freshman year, and
oh, yeah.
the team wraps that up, especially, too, at the beginning of the year. not so much was expected from Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite remember where they were picked in the MAC preseason ballots.
Yeah.
I'll say it was fairly low, but to come, just flying like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal. And so for us to be able to do it, and especially in that fashion and with Allie getting that home run, like I remember like one of those pictures, that's one of those pictures that kind of pops up, every now and then, because it's such a pivotal moment in Marshall softball history, because that is kind of like that moment where like we weren't playing around, like we're here to put this in action. And then I think that just kind of like continued to put Marshall on the map from that point in time.
Now, unfortunately, disappointment in the MAC tournament, but what was
always?
What was the mentality going into your sophomore year?
So obviously back then we didn't get the automatic bid that we probably deserved. And I remember Coach Stanton even saying like she had somebody on the committee and they were like, I'll bet my house that you guys are in. Like we won over 40 games, right?
41.
Yeah, 41 wins. We had won the regular season. Unfortunately, we lost at the tournament, but she had pretty much said like, hey, you're going to be in. So like that was devastating to not get into the tournament when I thought that we deserved to be in. Obviously for some reason we didn't, but so obviously coming back our sophomore season, we were like, man, like we are ready for this. We were even preseason ranked. And then sophomore year was just a crazy year. It was one of those years where like we would lose a game in unorthodox fashion. Many of our losses were like 1-run losses, and I don't know, it just like wasn't in the cards for us that year for whatever reason. Now we had some great moments, obviously, but for us to not have the success that we intended kind of was a dagger.
Well, okay, so you kind of chalk 2004 up to basically being a learning experience really then. Mm-hmm. So how about then in 2005, last chance to take back the MAC?
Yeah. I like that, Scott.
Well, I didn't come up with that, remember?
Oh, okay.
We had shirts. Remember, we had shirts that said take back the MAC. Jessica even shirts, and I think
Gosh, y'all, I don't remember anything. I'm sorry. I'm getting old.
Oh, no, we'll be good. We'll be good. But so how focused was the team then going into the 2005 season? Because you had kind of the taste of it in 2003, the sour taste from 2004.
Right.
Here was your last year going through the Mid-American Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that restart for us going in, and then we, had, I think Randy was our only senior, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Randy was our only senior. We knew we had the amount to just lead us to victory. We had a lot of the returning starters, and then we had a big freshman class with Sam and Folden and Dee, right? Okay, see, they're all running together, but those were again like impact players that Coach Stanton had recruited. So we knew talent-wise, hands down, we were the best team. So I think we kind of just were like, okay, here we are. We have the talent. We're not going to let what happened last year happen, and let's start fresh and then not look back.
Now, if I remember correctly, 2005, this was the year when Coach Stanton permanently put you in the leadoff spot.
Yes.
I remember at the time you kind of had a few sour thoughts about that because you wanted to be, like you said, you now got used to being down in the lineup, hitting in the 3-hole, driving people. Yeah. But, when you look back on it, especially the time that you got to have then as a coach, what was that really saying that Coach Stanton was saying about you, putting you in the leadoff spot?
Yeah. Obviously we had some big hitters that year. I was comfortable in that 3 slot. But now looking back on it, she said she always wanted to be able to start a game with a home run or getting on base and being able to steal a bag. So that's kind of what I did. I would try and just set the tone early, with getting in the box and trying to go up there with confidence. And I liked it. I ended up liking that leadoff spot just because it does kind of like just put a little bit of like, okay, you got this. Let's set the tone for the team. And, I like to think that I went up there with confidence, and hopefully that kind of helped the rest of the team out too.
Well, you definitely did. I mean, you were still batting over 300, getting named all conference, obviously putting up those doubles numbers and things, where your career numbers with doubles are still, ranked up in there in the NCAA record book as well. So, I mean, again, not being just like you used to be, kind of the small ball player, but having that opportunity to either hit the home run, get the double, or even if you had the single, you obviously had the speed to be able to take second and then really put yourself into scoring position for players like Fulton and Sam and Zone, for all them to come up. And now you were the one being driven in instead of driving them in.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good lineup we had.
What was it like playing for Coach Stanton?
So, I mean, just early on in the recruiting process, she just kind of is able to, like, I don't know. Let me try and explain this. She's just somebody that, like, you kind of want to be around. You want to impress. She is able to draw the best out of you. Some people, she may use certain tactics. Sometimes she had to use specific tactics with me. So she's just able to kind of figure it out. And it's because she has that love for you, not only as a student athlete, but also as a person. I mean, I can't say enough about playing for her and mentoring me, not only as a person, but as a woman in faith as well. So, I'm very blessed to be able to play for Coach Stan and coach with her, and then, have her as a lifelong friend.
Okay, so let's get back now to the 2005 season. So again, more big numbers for you, all conference again, and another regular season title. Your second one. You've now got that number one seed again, but unfortunately, more heartbreak. This time getting to the championship game though. But what do you remember from that?
Gosh, I mean, we came there to win. Like, we were like, man, nobody's gonna beat us twice. We were so confident. We knew we were the best team. But then for some reason, the way the bracket was drew up that year, it was elimination until you got to the championship game. Whoever came up with that bracket, I need to look you up still to this day. But anyway, so yeah, for us to get to the championship game and then lose, but not only lose, but lose on a walk-off in the bottom of the seventh was just
You're remembering the wrong year.
Wait, I am?
You're thinking of 2000, your senior year.
Oh, now I'm talking about 2006.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
It's all right.
2005 in the MAC. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So still, now I remember. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So 2005 in the MAC. Okay. So there we were so hyped. So what I remember about that tournament playing at Firestone Stadium is we were like so ready to go. And then it just like started raining. And so we're out there, we're doing like tarp slides and everything, like legit, nobody would have beat us that night. Then the rain comes, they cancel the game. We have to come back. They alter the schedule. I think we end up making a pitching change. I don't know. Again, it was like one of those things, like everything had to go this way in order for us to not win, and I hate to say that, but honestly, I do feel like each of those years we were the better team. And it was just like something crazy that would happen. So, I mean, obviously, like I said, it just wasn't meant to be. So it just made it that much sweeter when we did get the bid that we so longed for and that the program deserved in 2013. So, yeah, again, just not being able to come away with the championship and not get the bid again to regionals was breaking, like you said. Yeah.
Okay, now, so senior year.
Sorry, I jumped the gun, guys.
You're all right. Senior year, big change comes because now you're conferences. So the teams that you've gotten used to over the last 3 years, the teams and all that, all the rivalries are now gone.
Yeah.
You have completely new teams and new players to learn. What was that like to go through that?
I mean, honestly, I think it was a step up for the program, but it was kind of tough going from a conference that you're comfortable with, knowing that you're the best, knowing the competition, and having those rivalries. Because, I mean, yeah, that was intense and that was fun. But to be able to move up into a conference was something that Marshall deserved. So that recognition meant something. But it was kind of a little bit harder to reestablish ourselves, and people say, well, who's this Marshall team, And so I think we did well by going that route and finishing the regular season where we did. And then, unfortunately, I already talked about the tournament, and then things going the way it did there, us losing walk off. Oh my gosh! Like I still remember this day, like us losing and me just like dropping to my knees in center field. Like image won't ever go away.
Yeah, unfortunately I can still see as well, even the instant replay, the slowdown of the home run and all that. But but also too with your playing career as an outfielder, especially out in how did it feel when you would see that teams would not want to run on you, whether it was trying to take another base or trying to score, knowing that let's hold back because she's going to throw us out?
That was fun because I felt like that was something that, I took pride in was the strength of my arm. So it was nice to be able to see that respect from other coaches. Sometimes I wish that they would have sent them so that I could have done them down some more. But, that's just part of the game. And so they were doing their homework as well. But, that's not a lot of times that outfielders are recognized for that kind of stuff. It's more like the offensive side and the infielders that get recognition on as far as defensive play. So to be able to be out there and doing what I need to do for my team is all I could do. So that was fun.
I always loved watching you fire one in, and I've got a story from when we were at Southern Miss. I don't know if I've ever told you this one, but
okay.
No, nothing bad. Don't worry about it. I don't remember who the batter was, but somebody for Southern Miss, she had gotten a single up the middle and took a big round around first, and you scooped it up and did a pump fake like you were gonna fire it, and she just kind of stared you down, and two of you just kind of looked at each other for a moment. And the guy that was out there filming for Southern Miss, he just goes, "What is she doing? Why would a center field ever do that?" And I said, "Hey," just hang tight. I said, "If she does that again," I said, "Amanda's going to throw it. She's not going to pump fake this one. She's going to throw it. She tested her on this one. She's going to throw it." And then the same girl, I don't remember, I think it was the same game, but she gets another base hit up the middle, and she takes that big round, and you scoop and you gun it to first. And Spina's expecting it the whole way. And I don't know if I've ever seen a runner with just so much fear in their eyes thinking, "Oh my God, I have got to get back to first." She ended up being safe, but probably by maybe that much. But I just remember the kid next to me just going, "Oh my goodness." I said, "I told you she'd throw it." So that first one with the pump fake, she's trying to find out what this other girl has. And then try it again. So and then if she ever had another base hit the rest of the weekend, she probably took maybe 2 steps around first.
Again, keep her close. Keep her close.
Yeah. It's like I'm not testing that center fielder again. Whoa, close.
That's funny.
But okay, let's backtrack a little bit there with senior season. So for the year, and Jessica had reminded me of this. I kind of forgot. It was after I think at least the first weekend. You get drafted by the NPF and so selected with your sister. I mean, what did that mean for you to get picked by the professional league?
That was definitely once we realized that there was a league and this is something that we could do. That was the goal, is like, hey, heck yeah, that would be awesome to continue playing. At that point in time, I knew I wanted to get my master's degree, and my schedule would allow for me to continue to play in the summer before I started school. So, that was definitely something that we had our sights set on. And then for us to get the call saying that we were getting drafted and both of us the same team, really that's a dream come true for us. Okay,
well, let's go ahead and skip by the tournament championship game. You've already. Well, no, it's not exactly good memories for me either. So
Right. Yes.
Now, okay, so despite your college career being over, you do get playing. What was that experience like for you playing in the NPF?
It was awesome. Like, to look back on and to say that I was able to continue playing for 7 years, to play with some of the best names in the game and against, and to have the opportunity to just not pick it up and to just go out there and do what I love is something that I'll definitely cherish. And I was fortunate to be able to continue to playing as long as I did in the NPF because, I was at the time, and Coach Stanton allowed me to have this summers to play pro ball, and then I would heavily recruit in the fall, because obviously in the summer, that's when the coaches are doing a lot of recruiting. So I'm grateful that she allowed me to play as well.
Now, what was it like at first to be able to play with your sister in the pro league, and then for the first time in probably your entire lives, then playing without her?
Yeah, that was really hard, especially at first, because I don't think we had ever played a game not with each other on the softball field. So for her to be on a different team, like obviously I wanted my team to still win, but I was still cheering for her, because obviously I wanted her to still perform and do well, but I still wanted to have the upper hand at the end of the day.
Well, that's the competitive side, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so you talked about you wanted to get your master's. So you come back to Marshall for graduate school and as an assistant coach. Were you always thinking about continuing as a coach? Was that something you kind of wanted to get into?
Yeah, I think so. Initially, I didn't really know what I wanted to do after college, but then, the further I got in my playing career, and then when I was getting my master's, I realized that, this is my passion. This is something I can do and, stay in the game and continue to learn and just be around softball. So it quickly became something that I realized was attainable and convenient, because I was able to stay at Marshall, which is something obviously I enjoyed doing. I was there for a long time. You beat me to the punch, but you're still holding strong, Scott. But yeah, that was fun, being able to stay on at Marshall.
So now, after playing for Coach Stanton, what was it like to now coach with her and being on that other side?
I loved coaching with her. we kind of had that relationship a little bit as a player. I was somebody that we kind of had real and honest conversations with. So I don't know if she appreciated that or not, being able, me being up in her office and, challenging her. But I think she also appreciated it at the same time, because I think it made her better and saw some other things. And I continued to learn from her from the day that I left, so it made me a better coach as well. And like I said before, she's family. So we were able, even if we had disagreements, we were able to respect one another and still have love for one another.
I definitely remember some of the challenging moments in practice, especially when you were a player. Those were those were always enjoyable for some other people. Maybe not so much. I don't know. With you and Coach Stanton going on there, but
yeah.
So now, after the 2008 season, you get the opportunity to now be a full-time head coach because you finished grad school. Was this something that you were really looking forward to, having that opportunity to be a full-time assistant?
Yeah, for sure. Being able to do what I did as a graduate assistant was, fun and all, but now I'm getting to do it as a full-time job. So it's nice to, be able to continue on at Marshall and be a part of everything that Marshall stood for, and now do it as a job. Of course, that was a goal, and I was able to do it and have fun with it.
Well, and obviously too, you got to be able to see the program go from its original, old field there on campus, right in the middle of campus, then to the newer one.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the older players, they said they love being able to play at the old field because it was right there, all eyes on you, but still being able to see that, nice new facility had to be pretty special as well.
Yeah, for sure. Marshall, I was always just like, if they could just upgrade the facility right here and keep it where it was. So it really was fun, kids coming from school, in and out of the cafeteria, people hanging up, up there where you were, outside of Henderson Center. I'd turn around and, say what's up to everybody. So that was fun. But then obviously to see how far it's come to have its own facility and the locker rooms right there. Marshall softball definitely deserved that. So it was great to see that actually come to fruition.
Now, just even the period at first too, when you were a grad assistant, what was it like to coach players that you played with? Was there any adjustment with that?
I mean, I think more so on just like the social aspect of it. I don't think from a player coach, because like I said, I kind of had a little bit of that coach in me when I was a player, and I was able to, not teammates, but keep them accountable, and they kind of had that same relationship with me. So they kind of knew what to expect from that aspect of it, but just on a social level, not being able to hang out with them outside of playing or being on the field, that was a little bit challenging. I had to separate myself that way. So that was harder because, it's friendships, but at the same time, it's a respect thing.
Well, let's jump ahead a little bit. 2012 season. The herd seems to be, things are kind of coming together. They're clicking. But for you personally, engaged to your now husband, Eric Paz, and you were ready to move on. But the team battles through the conference tournament, great games against East Carolina, the walk-off against UAB, and despite still a championship loss, a very hard-fought game and another close game. So what were you thinking right after that?
I mean, at that point in time, I had kind of made my mind up that it was going to be my last year. At that point in time, I was engaged, Eric, Georgia. We had put in the work at Marshall, but it was kind of time, right, for me to come back home. Well, then we lose in the championship game, and again, we didn't get the bid that I still think that we deserved. So at that point in time, Chelsea and Shonda, they're just like, one more year. So that kind of just became like a chant/joke, but were they joking kind of thing. And so then I talked to the coaches, I talked to some of the players, I talked with Eric, obviously, and he was like, look, this is what you're doing, and I don't want this to be a situation that you look back on and regret. Like, I support you if you want to go back. And because at that point in time, we knew that 2013 season was going to be a special season. We had pretty much all of our starters back. We had Andy on the mound. We had some good freshmen coming in again, kind of like that same story all over again. And he was like, if you want to go, if there's any part of you that is going to want to be there for that, then I think you need to do it. So thank you, Eric. But shout out.
You're welcome.
He said you're welcome. But so then I decided to stay for one more year, and boy, was it worth it. And the rest is history.
Now, still talk about kind of the start of that season, because the way Marshall was playing through the beginning, it really didn't look like there was a championship in this team's future there at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. I don't too much remember that. Maybe because I just focused on the highlight of that season. But so you might have to remind me about some of that.
Well, Shay, before I even got done asking the question, Shay immediately went 2-7. I mean, she remembered, because that was the record from the start.
Okay.
The team kind of gets a few wins going. Then there's the sweep at Tulsa, but then 14-game winning streak. What does that mean to you now when you hear 14-game winning streak?
That's tough to do, and especially with the schedule that we were playing. So for us, I'm assuming that it was the sweep of Tulsa that kind of lit fire under us. Like, hey, we can play with these teams, and we are good enough to win. So I mean, to get a 14-game win streak, that's huge at any level. And so I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is that sparked the team and lit a fire under them to continue to shoot for the championship goals.
Well, and of course, the whole time, even before the 14-game winning streak, and even when the team was 2-7, Coach Stanton's constantly telling them
he was
the best team in program history. So
she was, and she was talking about it. It's about the journey, and now I remember that. Good job.
And I'm sure, especially being a coach and also being that you're coaching at your alma mater, I'm sure you are tired of her constantly saying you will be the best in program history.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to be able to trust, the process and everything that she had invested in the team, that we had invested in the team. It was a great group that we had, and a lot of hometown kids too. So they kind of got what it was about and knew how much that championship would mean to the program.
So now, up and down finish to the regular season, but you get to the conference tournament as the number 4 seed. What were you all thinking as a staff on the way out to Tulsa?
Well, I'm pretty sure when we got there, I said the champs are here into the press box. I think as another team was finishing up their practice and got on the mic and said the champs are here. So apparently we were thinking that we were the champs and we were there to win it.
Well, you always had that confidence as a player, so I'd keep it going as a coach, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, and then it kind of just played out the way the bracket was that year. It was finally in our favor, and we knew when we were going to be facing Houston in the championship and not Tulsa, that the game was ours to win for sure.
Well, now, what do you remember though from the first game out of that tournament with East Carolina, where 5 errors, but you're only down by 2 runs after the 4th inning? I mean, normally when you see a game where a team has 5 errors, I mean, you're probably trailing by 7 to 10 runs, something like that. But there's still time, and only down by 2. So kind of what is coach really telling the players at this point?
I mean, I'm sure she was just saying, like, you know, hang in there. Like, we're going to fight until the very last out. I mean, we were very offensive. We probably knew at that point in time they weren't going to score any more runs because we had Andy on the mound. You know, we were solid as well defensively. But I specifically remember, like, that looking at the outfield, and the outfield was so shallow. I was like, man, somebody's going to burn them. Because I'm like, especially if you're up, you're not going to play shallow. But, I mean, coaching moment. But so I'm looking up, I'm like, man, Bree is about to burn them, and she did. When Bree burned them, I knew that it was game over. Like, at that point in time, we were just going to continue to score, and we did. It was contagious from that point.
2 outs, bottom of the 5th inning. Bases loaded. Smith winds another one. It's going to be ripped to deep center field. Will it get over Mitchell's head? And it does. Cooper comes in to score. Braxton rounds around. She is scoring. Savannah Webster on her horse coming in, slides in safely. Brianna Holt with a base-clearing double gives the Thundering Herd the lead at 5-4.
So how excited were you then when you saw that shot from Bree?
Yes. I mean, I was come in. I'm sure I was just jumping up in the first base box saying, go 3, go 3, go 3. Because that's people from first base to third.
Well, at least you got Savannah trying to run from first all the way around to home. So, you know, maybe she was possibly hearing you too and thinking I can take 3 bases. And
yes.
You know, so what were you all talking about then as far as the staff, where you see, okay, we had that game against East Carolina where we made all those mistakes, but we still then you play the number 1 seed UAB and a clean game, come off with the 1-0 victory, you know, where a couple of times their best hitter keeps coming up with runners on base and the Herd keeps getting her out. So what are you all thinking now then after those 2 wins and you find out you're playing Houston?
Well, let me go back to that game and correct me if I'm not right, but that's the game that Sam had the
That was 2012.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, that was a big game, but so I remember that. Yes. So I can't remember how we scored our 1 run then. Do you remember?
First inning, Ashley Gu had gotten on base and Jazz was able to put a double down the left field line. That brought and that was it. And from then on, it really was Andy and the defense.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, to be able to shut out anybody in a championship tournament is huge because you know, usually it's like that first mistake, you know, or whatever, but to be able to hold a good hitting team and the number 1 seed to no runs was huge. And I'm sure it was a boost of confidence for us as well.
Now, how were you feeling the night before the championship?
I mean, I just kind of had that feeling. I was like I said, the bracket kind of worked out finally in our favor. And every other year it was like, it just like wasn't meant to be, but it just like this year, like everything was working out to where it was meant to be. So I think I went to bed confident, like knowing that we, for once, like just had the upper hand and felt it and didn't kind of have to fight for it. I mean, obviously it's a fight, but had the stars aligning, like, you know, on our side or something.
Now, take me through the championship game, the things that you remember, your eyes, your memories.
I mean, I just remember being in the dugout when we were like 3 outs away and everybody was just like holding hands. Like I look over at Ferrick and Ferrick has tears in her eyes. Like I have tears in my eyes because we knew what was about to happen. And it's something that, for a long time, it was a long time coming that, the girls before us had worked for, that we had worked for, that they had worked for, and it kind of just put it all in perspective. And was just like, I remember just being there and just like being so happy about, what it meant for the program.
I always love seeing the clip of course, after Andy and Hively hug, you basically just absolutely rushing Andy.
Yes. I mean, me and Andy always had like a vibe. Like we always just kind of at one another. She was super competitive as well. And, to have her on the mound, you knew it was that she was always going to be fighting and like putting all of her effort into every single pitch. And so to just be able to run out there and hug her, it was kind of, I was just celebrating with her, but just celebrating, with all the other teams as well, previous teams in the past, just kind of like in that moment. But yeah, I definitely remember sprinting out to her.
I had nothing wrong with that, but so how do you feel to finally be able to hold that banner right there along with that championship trophy?
Yes, so good. I mean, I think I even remember the bracket that you have behind you there, like just pointing it. I think I have a picture of us pointing to the Marshall being the champion before we were even in the championship game. So to have that come to light and hold it and just like live in it was, I mean, it was an unforgettable moment. And so to have pictures, not only are the pictures going to last a lifetime, but like that feeling of just accomplishment as well.
Now, you've kind of alluded to it a little bit already, but, you didn't get to experience this as a player, but how was it as a coach? And especially that you had been there a few times, as a player, as a coach, and this was at your alma mater. Like this wasn't just at some other school that you had left to and now you've won a championship. This was where you played.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to do that as a coach and see the hard work that the girls have put in, and then, the girls wanted it so bad too. So it wasn't just like, for the coaches, like they were on board, they were putting in the hard work. And like I said, a lot of hometown girls on that team too. So like to see the passion that they had and the fight that they had to make that come to light was just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like I said, it was like all of that, all those years previous kind of just like came to all together at one. And I was celebrating for all of those teams.
2-1 count, 2 out. Can Williamson get it here? Let's see. She fires one in. It's going around her right back up the middle. Williamson throws to first base in time. Out number 3, Marshall is your 2013 Conference USA Tournament champions. The team that lost in the championship last year comes right back. They get the victory, and they move on straight to the NCAA Regional Tournament.
Talk about regionals and your there. How was that?
And what was there? What'd you say?
How was that for you? What was the experience?
Oh my gosh. To be at Kentucky and to look up and see like so many Marshall fans in the stands was just unbelievable. And, it felt different. Like there was an air of like excellence when you're out there, because we're at regionals for the first time, it seemed more professional. Like it wasn't just any other tournament. It was kind of big time, and just be there and then see the support that we had. Like that's just one thing that I really remember is like looking up in the stands and like the We Are Marshalls and like looking back on pictures and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was so cool. Yeah.
Well, and especially too to play the host team Kentucky in the first game, and where it looked like it was at least 50-50 as far as Kentucky fans, maybe potentially some more Marshall fans. And you're at their stadium and making, and the Marshall fans are making so much more noise than the Kentucky fans, because you've got your sister out there, you know, on top of the dugout leading the We Are Marshall most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Eric there, you know, Joe's in the stands, Marco's there, Chad Pennington came to the game. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, that really had to be something special. And even despite the losses to Kentucky and Virginia Tech, the team put on a show in both of them.
Oh, for sure.
You do still get the win in between against Notre Dame, because how many times do you see that when a team gets to regionals for the first time, they're 2 and done, and you at least one of those games, if not both of them, they're just getting their butts kicked.
Yeah.
This team put a whole lot of fight in.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think, like, as far as the rankings, that was one of the toughest regionals from, like, 1 seed to 4 seed. And did we go extra innings with Kentucky?
Oh, yeah. The only thing that wasn't extra innings was the win over.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I thought, like, for us to go extra innings with Kentucky and then 13 or 14 with Virginia Tech, again, they did amazing. And, like, for us to be in those games and show, like, okay, we should not be a 4 seed. Like, we can play with you 1 seeds. You know, to stay in those games and play the way we did, I think just put a little bit, again, more respect for Marshall and putting Marshall on the map. But I think it's like, it was one of those things, like, it wasn't meant to be. Maybe somebody would have been injured the next day or something. That's what I'd go back to, because I'm like, the way we played and the way things unfolded and how we ended up losing, it's just, like, not meant to be kind of things. But it doesn't take away from the experience at all, because being there was something that Marshall had, you know, a goal of doing, and being there and representing well spoke very highly of Marshall.
So now, what was it like for you to finally step away from Marshall after 11 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, that was really hard to leave, not only the coaching aspect of it, but to just leave Marshall and Huntington in general, you know, because it did become a home away from home. Like I talked about, the people there is the biggest thing is, you know, the community of people there support the program and support you as people. And so it was hard to leave. You know, fortunately, I was coming home to my husband and had a wedding to plan because since I had been coaching, and I was getting married September 1st. So I got back, you know, the end of May, beginning of June, I guess. Still had a lot of things on the to-do list for the wedding. It kept me busy. So I had to jump right into that, and we had a beautiful wedding, and now we have beautiful kids. So I wouldn't have it any other way, but it was definitely hard to leave Huntington after so long.
Now, once you left Marshall, did you ever think that you were going to get back into coaching on the collegiate level than when you did at Kennesaw?
I mean, I knew at that point in time we were established here, and it would have to be something like Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State. And at that point in time, like, all those coaching positions were filled, and it was just like, if it's the right timing and the right job, then yeah, like, I'll make it. And then Kennesaw State actually reached out to me when they had a coaching change at the end of the fall semester, which typically you don't have coaching changes at that time. So they did, and Coach Torrey, I knew from the recruiting process, he recruiting me when he was a head coach at Tennessee Tech. He was a head coach at Kennesaw State, and then conversation, and then I went in and interviewed and got the job. So I mean, that was, and had the timing with, you know, not having with, like, me getting pregnant with Caleb and having Caleb, I probably would have stayed longer. I mean, I enjoyed coaching there, and obviously being close to home and being in a strong conference. But now, you know, doing what I do, love the most is being a mom and being able to be there with my family, and then still staying involved with softball at my own cost is, you know, kind of what I dream of, really, being able to still with softball and then be a mom and a wife.
How closely do you follow along with Marshall still?
I mean, I get all your posts all the time. I'm like, you know, top fan. So, and so that's great. All the stuff that you're doing on social media. And then I just couldn't be more happy for the program and the coaches that they have in there now. They're completely pouring into those girls, and we're off to another great start last year. So I'm just hope that they continue on the success that they had. I know that there's big things in store for Marshall now, and especially under their leadership. And I'm sure they have some big bangers in there that can continue hitting home runs. So thank you for doing your job and continue to put information out there. And I know we're trying to work some things out for the alumni to come back maybe in the spring if we can get the dates sorted out. So hopefully we can make that happen. I know it's tough because you guys have limited home games this year, but everyone stay tuned for that.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the alumni weekends because you're really the one who started planning those. And
Yeah.
I mean, what does that mean as really the alumni network with Marshall softball in trying to reconnect everybody, not like just the players that you played with or even the ones you coached with, trying to reconnect with the ones who came before you and really bring everybody back together all the time.
Yeah, because, Marshall is about family, and whether you played with somebody or you didn't play with them, like everybody has a story about Marshall, and it kind of just keeps it together and all the traditions alive. So I did kind of give myself that title back when I was coaching. I was like, man, we need to do something. The first thing we had ever done with alumni was when we did open up the new Hicks Field, and that was kind of like our first alumni event. And I was like, we need to continue to have events. So I made myself the alumni coordinator. And from there, we just tried to get together every homecoming weekend in the fall so we can go to a football game, do the alumni game, and have a social get together. And then if a softball player gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, we like to tie it in to that weekend instead of the homecoming so we can get people there to support that as well. But obviously now with things being a little bit different with COVID, me and Coach have talked about getting something together for the spring, but we're still trying to work out some details for that.
Well, and talking about with, bringing everybody together too with Hall of Fame inductions, what were your emotions when you found out that you were getting in the class of 2017?
I mean, I think I immediately got emotional because at that point in time, to have your name amongst some of the other greats that have been through that program is, it's a speechless moment, really. But I remember in the recruiting process back in the day when we went to her cafe, Coach had put together, they had the tiles on the floor. And so back then it was permitted so she had her name on the tiles, and it, it was Amanda Williams, 2006, and it said Hall of Fame. So she's like, this is, you're going to be a future Hall of Famer here, so to have that come to light and, hard work and all the memories, it's not necessarily about being a Hall of Famer for softball, but just having those Hall of Fame moments, with all my teammates and the coaches, and that's really what I remember.
What did it mean for you too when your sister Jessica was inducted the next year? And so now the two of you, it was almost like your playing days were kind of connected back together and completed.
Yeah, I mean, to have both of our names in history there is something that's very special. And, I couldn't be more happy for Jessica. She was somebody that, as you know, is just, a great leader and is able to get a lot out of everyone, and is kind of more of the positive, person that keeps everybody together. So to see her get that recognition, meant a lot.
Well, talk a little too. What was it like to be able to have your twin sister go with you through your athletic journey like this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that either one of us would be the athletes that we are if it wasn't for the other one, because we were always pushing each other, always competing with one another, but at the same time, cheering each other on. So if it wasn't me winning, I would want it to be her to win, or vice versa. So to be able to, you have no excuses. It's not like you don't have anybody to go throw or hit with. We were fortunate to have each other throughout the process.
Okay, let's step back a little bit again. Now, what are some of your best memories from your playing days on and off, either on or off the field?
I mean, I think just overall the camaraderie that we had, like we were a tight group, you know, and we kind of came in with a mission and we had each other's backs and, you know, just knew that we were there for a greater purpose, not just to go through the motions and get our education or go, you know, play ball, but we were there to make a statement. And, you know, so it's really the friendships and, you know, the pole to poles and being able to grit it out day to day with one another, with your teammates by your side is really what it's all about.
What are some of your best memories from your coaching days?
Just seeing the successes of the girls, you know, seeing the frustration that they have, whether they're coming into the office and crying one day or frustrated about this or that, and then to see it, you know, the success on the other end when it comes to light on the field, whether it be the home runs or the diving plays, just to see that after they put in the hard work was very rewarding.
Now, do you have any crazy day or crazy stories that you want to share? Obviously appropriate, you know.
Yeah. Stories. Oh gosh. I'm not sure. I might have to think about it and then just comment when you put your video up. Story. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Okay, well that's all right. I mean, you know, with the way that I have this, I kind of like to be able to just see what I might be able to spark. And yeah, I know something doesn't always happen, but that's all right. So, finally, is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers, whoever may watch this?
Just to continue to support Marshall softball. It's a great group of girls, a great staff, and if you're looking at this, if maybe you're a recruit, like you will not be disappointed in making a decision to go to Marshall because it really is a special place. Like, and you don't really know that until you experience, because it is a place just kind of wraps their arms around you, takes you in, and you're one of them. So just Marshall is a really special place with some great athletes, some great softball players, a great community, and say enough about the program.
Well, and actually, I just thought of this real quick. You know, as an alum, what does it mean to you when you get to see that they still get these great big crowds coming to watch home games?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all, because the people there, the fans, they just support. And that's all I can say about them, is they just come out regardless if you aren't having a good day, a good season, like they're still going to be there at the end of the day to just root for you, not only on the field, but off the field as well. I mean, the relationships that we had with the fans, not just on the field, but off the field too, you know, they become part of your family. So that doesn't surprise me one bit that people are continuing to go out to the games.
And what would it mean to you if Marshall made it to the College World Series?
I mean, I'll be there. I'll ticket. I mean, but I really feel, I always have felt like, you know, is just on the edge of being like that top, 10 team. Anything can happen. Obviously, the way softball is these days, like, home runs after home runs, they just continue to come, and Marshall is swinging the bats as good as anybody. So if they continue to hit the ball like they are, and if they can get a pitcher on the mound that's going to keep them in ball games, then anybody can make it there, and why not Marshall,
And I would have to say, I mean, if it's something I get to experience, still working with the team or not, I would love to see just how many alum
for sure
would come pouring into that stadium. If
they better watch out.
Definitely going to be plenty of cheering and all that coming from green and white. But, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me here on the MUSB Dugout. I really appreciate, being able to chat with you, hear your story and all that, and especially after we got to work together for 10 years.
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. We appreciate you. You're the best. Here we go, Scott.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Williams, one of the best and brightest stars from Marshall University, regardless of the sport, 2003 MAC Freshman of the Year, and you will see her appear over 180 times in the MUSB record book. So again, Amanda, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.